Hi, I'm Phil D'Agostino, and this is Naked Thinking. How many of you out there are married? Put your hand down, you silly goose. I can't see you. This is a video, remember that? But how many of you are married? Some of you are, and some of you aren't, or have been, and no longer are. But my guess is even if you're not part of a married couple, you've seen one on TV, argued with one or something like that, so you know what they are, you know how they look. But you have other relationships in your world, not just girlfriend, boyfriend, or spouses. It could be anybody. And as you go through a relationship, you'll have times when, especially if it's an ongoing, regular kind of a relationship, if you actually think about it, there are probably certain things that you and that person will argue about exactly the same way over and over again. It's like, it seems like I've heard this song before. That's an old song from way back when. It seems like I've heard this song before. And you'll go through the same thing. It's like, how many times do we have to talk about this? How many times do we have to talk? You've already told me this. How many times? Or you've said to the other party, I've told you 1,000,000 times. It's, yeah, so please don't do it again. I mean, but you do. But you do. And why do you do that? Well, I believe that people go through this thing, this process that appears to be a way to get around a certain issue or a problem, but it doesn't really work that way. I call it a black box event. And I'll tell you why I call it a black box event after we talk about what a black box event is, okay? So, a black box event is a co-constructed series of interaction between two people that is used for problem solving, but isn't. Could you put that up for us, please? I'd appreciate that very much. Thank you, Allie. Okay. Now, let's go through that again. It's co-constructed. Co-constructed. That means neither one of you is totally responsible for this. You're both responsible for this. And it's a series of interactions. It could go on for a few minutes or it could go on for days. And we'll talk about that coming up here in just a few minutes. And people in it, when they're in this black box event, they think they're arguing towards some kind of a finish or some kind of end or solution to the issue or something like that. But it almost never happens. How do I know it? Because you repeat it again. You'll talk about it, you'll do it again. So I know that this doesn't really solve anything. That's the point. The point is it's used for problem solving, as it says. It's used for problem solving, but it really isn't problem solving. So if a person does do this, the question comes up, if you go into motivational psychology and you ask the question, okay, you keep doing this. Why? The answer will always be because it serves a purpose. There is something you get from doing anything that you do, or you wouldn't be motivated to do it, but you keep doing this. Now, there might be several different motivators. Ellie, could you take this down now? Thank you very much. There might be several different motivators to do this kind of thing, but one of the most important ones is that it's used as a stress reducer. In other words, if you were to look, would you hand me that? No, the other one. Yeah, this one. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, if we were to take my, it's just a stick, as you can see, but we're going to use this as a baseline. Thank you. And we're going to use my pointer here. So we say, let's say this is the average interaction between you and the other party, the average emotional interaction with the other party. This is your baseline of getting along with that person, okay? So what happens is that as time goes on, something happens, tick, 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 and things are not going well. Then you finally get to a place where you go, ah, and you blow up. And then you go through this back and forth thing, and then something happens, and then you come back up to here. Now you want it to go back over here. You want things to improve. And they might improve a little bit for a very short period of time. But whatever happens, you eventually wind up right back where you started out. Where you started out, and that's the problem. Can you take that back? Thank you. Thank you. All right. So this is a very important part of this, is that at some point, you kind of begin to build up a certain amount of, we can call it anger or whatever it is, and eventually, like a dump truck, okay? You keep throwing these things in the back of the dump truck, and at some point, poof, you pull the lever and poof, you throw it all on the other party, and then you get into this thing we'll call a black box event that kind of dissipates that, and then over a period of time, flutter, 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 up or down, you wind up at average, normal baseline. Let me give you an example, okay? We're going to pick Tristan and Isolde. I won't use any other names of the day because somebody might think I'm picking on a particular group, and we don't want that. So what I want to do is we'll take Tristan and Isolde. Those are old Viking names, I believe, and I believe there aren't any Vikings to bother, so we'll use that. And we say Tristan is the guy, and Isolde is the woman, and they're married. So this is the husband and the wife, and so Tristan and Isolde are somewhere out in the cold countries of Norwegia, we'll say, okay, wherever that is, and she's inside cooking and doing what the wives of that day used to do, and he's outside shoveling snow because that's what happens up there. There's snow, and so he's out there doing that. Okay, so while he's shoveling snow, here comes Barney. He comes walking about, and he sees Tristan, and he says, "Hey, Tristan, we are going down to the mead hall tonight to knock back some grogs. We'd like for you to come on down and visit with us." And he goes, I'm going to have to give that some thought. Barney says, "Oh, so Isolde won't let you come down to the mead hall. Is that what this is about?" "Ooh, the big Viking." And he goes, No, that's not it. I'm my own boss. You know, I got the horns and everything. I am in charge of me. I don't have to worry about Isolde. As a matter of fact, I'll be there, okay? I'll just show you I'll be there. So Barney goes, "Yeah, we'll see." And then Barney goes away. Tristan now has an issue. Isolde really doesn't like for him to go down to the mead hall and knock back, it's like not a few grogs, a lot of grogs. And so he comes back in, and he's usually pretty, drunk. So she doesn't like that. So he has now to figure out how he's going to get down there. So he comes back in, and he says to Isolde, he says, "Oh man, my back's killing me. I've been out there shoveling the snow, and I think I really need to take a nice long walk, and I'll be back later." And Isolde goes, "Your back hurts? You don't think I saw Barney talking to you out there? You don't think I know that I don't know that you're going to go down to the mead hall? That you're going to go down there, drink a bunch of grogs, come back in here 2 o'clock in the morning, smelling like a brewery, stone drunk, probably gambling away half of what we do own. You don't think I know that's going to happen?" And so now, Tristan says, "Oh, so you're calling me a liar now and a drunk. Is that what you're doing? Oh, don't give me that. Don't give me that," she says. I know what this is all about." "Oh, you do you? So you just called me a liar and a drunk. That's what you just said." Well, this, and not only that, you're making an accusation about Barney. It's, you know what, Isolde, I don't need this. I'm out of here. And he takes off. Now he goes out to the meat hall. But whose fault is it? It's Isolde's fault because she got on his case and, drove him out of the house. So he's down there and he's, knocking back his grogs, and Barney's sitting over here. And Barney says, "So how did she take it?" "Oh, man, you should have seen her." He says, "Gurgle, gurgle. She was really, I'm going to have to, so boy, am I going to pay that one, gurgle, gurgle." Well, he goes back in, 2 o'clock, drunk, and he plops out on the bed. She scoots over. She goes, "You're not getting anywhere near me." And the next day, she's banging cabinets and throwing things around the house and certainly not cooking for him or anything else. And so, this goes on for like 3 days. Then they're sitting down there, like the Flintstones, watching a stone television, and this thing comes up, it's supposedly funny, and he's watching, and she's over there, and this thing happens, and she goes, "Did you see that? Oh, I'm mad at you." And he goes, "Yeah. She goes, "I really don't like it when you do that." And he goes, "I'm sorry." And it's over. The black box event began when he walked into the house. The black box ended when she finally got her punishment in. See how that works? Now, this took 3 days. Now, wouldn't it be nice if you, instead of wasting 3 days of loving somebody that you live with, like your spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, or your mom or dad or anybody else, instead of wasting that time in anger, wouldn't it be nice to just find a way to cut it off earlier and save all that and not ever do this again? That's the point here. If you understand what a black box event is, it's co-constructed. So both Tristan and Isolde were responsible for this. And it is a series of events that happens repeatedly. She's doing this as a problem solver. It's like, if I punish him enough, maybe he won't do it again. And if he punishes her enough by saying, "Oh, I'm out of here," then she won't give him grief again. But what if they were to say, "Look, we're doing this black box event thing. Rather than doing that again, why don't we talk about your going down to the, say Isolde says to Tristan, "Why don't we talk about your going down to the meat hall?" And he goes, "Well, I really like going down there, and I like the guys, and I like to do," and she goes, "Yeah, I get that. But how about this? How about you cut back? And instead of doing this, once a week or twice a week, you do it like, say, once a month, and I won't give you any grief for it at all." If you were to cut back to say just once a month, I will celebrate it with you. I might even go down with you if you want me to. Now, what if you did that? Now, think about your life. And you think about all the times that you have had these silly arguments with your loved one. There was a man I knew whose wife had died. They had been married for about 24 or 5 years. And I said to that person, of all the things that have transpired between you and your wife, what would you say is the most regretful thing that occurred? And he said, "I don't regret any decisions I've made." He said, "But I do regret this. How much time I spent in anger with her." And right now, that doesn't seem like it matters at all. If it doesn't seem like it matters today, why did it matter so much then that I separated myself in love from that person in anger? Wouldn't that be nice? That can happen to you too. But it all starts with understanding the black box event and then looking in your life to find them and then being committed to stopping them. And then you can spend a lot more time in love and a lot less time in anger. Hi, it's me, Phil, again. I want to thank you for stopping by for this episode of the Naked Thinking Podcast. But before you go, if you like what you saw and you want to see more of it, don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and then pass it around to everybody you know, and even everybody you don't know, which would be everybody. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.